What's up? This is Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, and on the phone line from the Kid Chris Show on WEBN in Cincinnati, the one and only Kid Chris is on the show. What's up, man?
Hey, the Hoppe Hour, the award-winning Hoppe Hour, right?
Damn right, dude. You know, whenever I book guests, I have to say it's a two-time award-winning show. You got to let them know, Chris.
2 times. So, what do you get? Where did you get it? What happened?
Okay, it's this local newspaper. They do a Best of the Bay each year. This year, I wasn't even a runner-up. I wasn't even in the contest. But the last 3 years, 2 out of the 3 years, I won, and then I was a runner-up 2 years ago. And basically, you go to this show. There's free booze, there's free food, samples of everything, and then you get a nice piece of paper that says Best Local Podcast. And then last year it was Best Local Internet Radio Show, which is basically the same thing. So you get to hang it up on your wall, Chris, and you go, I'm the best in the Bay.
Yeah, but how come not this year?
I don't know, dude. I was a little insulted, but you know what? My boss said it best. Tom Brady doesn't win every Super Bowl, Kid Chris.
Yeah, and you know what else? There's a couple guys that I like to. One of my hobbies is I like to watch these guys do the turntable stuff. You know. Yeah. And there's been a couple guys that would win the DMC award over and over and over again, and they end up being forced into retirement because they win every year. So that could be the case as well, where they're like, well, we got to keep it interesting. Let's just not even put this dude in.
Yeah, they gave it to some show that I've never heard of, and I'm not acting like I'm some radio pro where I know every show ever, but I think this year they were like, we have to give it to something else because it was me the last 3 years.
The case.
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with that. I mean, guess what? I didn't win this year, but I have you on the phone line. That's the best part, Kid Chris.
And you got to be like old school radio. Now you got to call the other show like a bunch of pussies and stuff, right? And you got to fight with them.
Dude, speaking of people being pussies, is it getting harder doing your show in 2018 where everybody's offended by everything? I mean, I just saw in the newspaper online that people are mad over Pete Davidson's joke about Ariana Grande taking birth pills. I mean, where are you at? Do you get nervous about what you...
What's the joke again?
She takes birth pills so that she doesn't have kids, and people are mad that he made jokes about their sex life on TV, birth control jokes.
Well, I mean, well, for me, I mean, I don't have any problems with that stuff. I don't... I've always kind of... Well, now especially, I kind of wrote the... I kind of am aware of what is, sensitive or whatever. But, I don't know. How are they mad at? I mean, he get fired. He can't get fired from anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and you just signed a 5-year deal, so you're basically safe there in Cincinnati.
Well, that's never the case. You're never safe. But to me, it's more fun to kind of for people to think he's now he's going to get in trouble. I think that's more fun. But it doesn't happen. I've never really been in trouble for something, not in a long, long, long time, that was said on the air where I got fired, actually. It's always been, if I got whacked or something, it was always like a format change or a management change.
Dude, you went town to town. Is it weird for you that finally you're in a town that loves you and you've been there for 6 years and you just signed for 5 more years, so it could be 11 years? Is it weird to think that you finally maybe found your home?
Sure, and I'm glad it's here. I'm glad it didn't stick in a place like Portland where I would have to stay there because I didn't like Portland.
What's so wrong about it? I hear you take shots at it on air.
I don't take shots at Portland, Oregon. I throw bombs at it. I don't like. I mean, I just didn't like the attitude. Like the stuck-up girl in high school where you're like, and she wasn't even really that good looking or whatever. You're like, why would you think you had this attitude? Like, how could you think you could get away with this? That's Portland, Oregon.
So that town is basically that one girl that's hot but hangs out with the girls that are hotter, so she feels cool that she's friends with the girls that are hotter.
That's the best way to put it. I never thought about it that way because they're not as hot as Seattle. You know? And they pretend to be Austin, I guess, or maybe Austin ripped off Portland. I don't know. 3 cities I have no interest in. And plus, I have depression issues, so I can't deal with that weather.
I do know you got to work with a guy that I talk to occasionally in Marconi.
Yes.
How was that?
That was fine. Marconi's a good guy. He should be out on, he should be doing his own thing like he is now. We took a swing at putting him. I had an availability on my radio show, so, he was a known guy in that market, so I figured we could put him on my show and maybe use his legacy in that town as the shine for our show and maybe skip up a few steps, but it was already way too late for us, and they were going to change the format of the radio station, so... it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me was to get out of that town. Oh, God.
So what does your wife think about all this moving?
Well, nobody's a fan of it, but she knew coming in. When I moved to Texas, where she's from, of course, because I'm a stunning piece of sexual machinery, she wanted to be with me, and I told her, I move a lot, so I don't know if that's a good idea. But she was in, from there. Whenever we argue about stuff, she'll say things like, well, I stuck with you because, even though you're moving all the time. But, come on. She knew going in. And plus, like I said, I'm a sexual machine.
Dude, so your kids are beginning to grow up. Do you get nervous that they're going to type in their dad's name and see things that he did in his radio past or currently?
No, I don't. Like what would you think would be an embarrassment?
Nothing bad. It's just, I hate the word shock jock, but you do edgy things at times. Like, here's an example, Chris. Do your kids listen to you when they're being driven to class?
I don't know. My wife may have me on because they've mentioned that they would have heard me on the radio. I think I've been painted with that brush a long time ago, but it's not what you think it is.
Yeah, I just wonder about these radio guys that are kind of edgy and what it's like when they have their kids. Maybe I'm just overthinking it, but like sort of trying to say to their kids, this is what dad does for a living.
Yeah, I don't know. I know, well, the people at their daycare listen because they mention it when I come in. I'm trying to think, like, I know you're down there in Tampa and you work with a guy that does he have the shock jock paintbrush on him?
Mike Calta kind of does, but what's really making Calta crush it in radio is he does really good interviews. Like, he crushes it in interviews, and I've sat in on his show 2 weeks ago, and he's sort of like you where he's not doing an interview where he's thinking about the next thing he wants to ask. It's like you're talking to a friend. He's very laid back. And that's my favorite type of radio, is where you don't even think you're on air, is when you're with a host and you are just talking to them.
Yeah. Now, so, where does the paintbrush, the shock jockery come in? I think those days are kind of over.
Nothing per se. I guess you guys just make sex jokes every once in a while. Like, let's say Thomas banging girls in the past. Like this week, you guys were talking about the same girls you bang. Like, I'm just saying, what if your kids tuned in to hear you talking about, like you were saying how there might be kids from other women and you were half kidding.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. Things like that.
Okay. I would laugh that off. That may be more of a thing where my wife would be a little bit like, oh man, I don't want them hearing that. I would kind of laugh that off, I think. And during that one segment, I don't know if I even used the word bang.
Yeah, I think that's just me saying that. I think you were classier.
Yeah, no. I think when you start, because there's one thing I've learned is, and it's more fun. This is probably more of the shock part, I think, is some people think when we get into those waters, they're shocked that we don't use the words that they're expecting and roll their eyes and just go, oh, it's that show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I could be wrong. I don't know if I said bang in that, but that was.
I don't think you did. I think that's me. I'm kind of a vulgar guy, and I need to work on that.
Well, it's not even a vulgar word. It's just, that's an accepted word, but I think on purpose I didn't use that because it was expected. That's how more I approach those things. Where, I've listened to old tapes from Philadelphia, which, I don't even think those could be aired at all nowadays, just because of the language and things. But like anything, times have changed. If you were to pitch now, think about this. If you were to pitch now a cartoon called South Park as brand new and what it does, it would never reach the air. But because of what it is now, and it's a behemoth, and the money it makes, they protect the hell out of it. So this whole thing about PC and zero tolerance and this and that doesn't matter as long as you're a behemoth making money. That's it. I'm not saying that we go down those roads or whatever, but that whole PC world and this and that it's not real. It's real to those who want to do something like a comic that's brand new or whatever, and he goes up on stage and uses the C word a bunch of times, and people go, why'd you do that? They go, I'm sick of this PC world. No, you didn't have a joke. You know what I mean? You just went up there and said the C word, and you knew your friends thought it was funny. So, and look, I was that guy back in the day. Like, I listen to those old Philadelphia tapes because I have them all, and I just go, oh, God, this is the worst. And it's just, I hear me trying, and I don't like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, back then, how would you use Connie during the show? Like, because now he's just very weird, but you guys kind of let him talk and then you hang up on him. But what was he like back then? Were you guys more edgier with him? No, it's the same thing. We tried something with him when we first met him where a listener wanted to win something, so we had him take a shower with her, and it was uncomfortable. It was like we were using him the wrong way. So we ended up hiring him. He was on payroll, and he was just kind of like our mascot. Everybody loved him and stuff, so we kind of protected him and didn't put him in those weird kind of situations. He's very funny on his own, and then just his speech pattern kind of makes it even, compelling and more and funnier, So that's that. But what we've learned with guys like Constantine is sometimes you have to prep them. And that's what we do with Connie. He's very prepped. Because nowadays it's more, you got to be quick. If anything that has changed, I know the PC stuff, whatever, but if anything that has changed, the people's attention span is so quick. So Connie now is more prepped and quicker. You know what I mean? We move them along quicker than before. Dude, I was listening on Friday during my second job, and I swear to God, when he brought up the word cream pie to Rachel, I have never laughed that hard. That was the most uncomfortable thing I've ever heard. Yeah, and the funny thing is if you don't know what that is, it didn't get dirty. And he didn't even know what it was. Are you serious? Yeah, he has no clue. He thought it was like a real cream pie that he wanted to eat with her. Because, like I said, he's prepped up pretty good. So he's just reading. Thomas writes that. He produces that bit. So all that's, he's just reading what Thomas writes for him. That makes sense, because what is it like working with Thomas? Because I can't figure out the show. And here's what I want to ask you. You listen to some shows, and it seems like they hate each other. Like they actually make fun of each other, but they hate each other, and it seems mean. But when you make fun of Thomas or Dubs or me or Rachel, it seems like you guys are friends off the mic. I can't figure out if you guys like each other or not. Yes. I mean, we've been texting each other all day today. What you hear on the air is what you get, and I kind of keep it that way. And I think a lot of it has to do with when it comes to
like radio stuff, I shield. Well, Dubs is the assistant program director, so he's thrown into the middle of that, but and Meat's on the air. But I protect guys like Thomas and Rachel from the radio side of it, because then if they become too radio, then it makes them robots, and I don't like that. And then it becomes the radio gossip shit while we're on the air, and I don't like that stuff. So I have it where, like, for Thomas, for years and years and years, he was paid just to be him, not the radio Thomas. You know what I'm saying? He's learned how to write bits and script things. So, like, a thing with Constantine is great because I don't even know what's coming. So when I hear the jokes, I'm hearing them for the first time, and that's the way I need it to be. You know, and we don't hide that it's written for him. I mean, it's obvious when you hear it, because when he screws up a joke, we correct him.
I guess that's true. I guess I'm the one person that thought that he wrote the jokes. I don't know why I did, but I thought he did. No,
it's when we do that kind of stuff, I try to make it known that it's a goof. You know, that he's written for. He's got to be.
That's so true. I can't imagine what it would be like if he actually wrote jokes.
Well, that was the thing. Yeah. Well, he understands, which is 90% of it. He understands how to deliver a joke and things like that. So it's 90% of it. Where a guy like that was on our show before, like Johnny Five, didn't understand that stuff. So he would try to go out on his own, and that's why he doesn't come on the show anymore. Because it would tank. It'd just be some loud guy that doesn't have any jokes. So there's nothing to him. You know, so yeah, I think Constantine, with Thomas producing him, it's Thomas's one of his first things he's done to produce something where I don't have to look it over and stuff, and I love it, because then I'm riding along with it and having a good time. You know, and I don't know what's coming, which is the funnest part.
Is it weird having Dubs on the show since he's your boss?
No.
That's a good.
Everybody. I mean, the word boss is funny, but no, I think it's good because he's right there. So, like, when I'm on the radio or something, it's time to, with all this stuff we got to break at a certain time, he's right in the other room. So he throws up a reminder, because if he wasn't there, we would go long, and then. No matter how good the segment is, if you don't take a commercial break at the right time, then you lose. That's how that works.
So what do you guys do during the breaks? Do you guys talk to each other? Like, when I worked on Rover's Morning Glory, we weren't allowed to talk to Rover because we had to save it for the air. That's what he would say. I would go into the room and he'd be like, save it for the air. Save it for the air. Now, do you guys...
Well, I agree with that.
Yeah, so do you guys prep that out where you save it for the air, or do you guys talk about...
Yes, because I agree with that, and I think, it depends. I mean, we talk off the air, obviously, but if things start getting to where it's like, okay, I could use this on the air, I'll say, all right, save it. And they know, okay, we're going to go on the air with it. Yeah, no, I think every good show does that. Yeah. I don't think it's a bad thing to say, let's hold up for a minute.
So what made you guys bring Rachel on to the show? Whose idea was that?
The idea was I always wanted because it seems weird to go on and go, oh, here, I read this thing, let's talk about this, and then comment on it. I mean, when you watch TV or whatever, you don't see, like on Fox or something, I don't know, they go on and they talk about a topic, and then they throw it around with the different people that are on there talking about it, because they all have different takes. It seems weird to go on, bring something up, and then give your take, and then move on. It's just, I don't know, to me it sounded odd. So I wanted somebody else to throw a pitch, and I didn't want another guy on the show. We talked to a girl in Columbus. She was going to be really awesome at it, but she lives there and works on another show, so we couldn't do a thing where we were going to pipe her in and recorded her in a commercial break, and that just was going to be a nightmare. So Rachel was working at the radio station, and she did stuff on another show, and I thought, she would be awesome, and they made it happen. And I was so psyched when they brought her and they were able to make that happen, because it's fun having someone like that there because we also curb where we go with certain things. Like when we were talking about that thing with Thomas and I getting with the same women. She was in the room, and I knew how to talk about it without her cringing, which I think is a good thing to do, because if she cringes, I just picture people changing the channel because their kids are in the car or something. And you know how it is nowadays. You need all the ears you can get. So it's a good meter for me.
Is it weird having a girl on the show now?
No, because I think girls are, if not, they ride good. If not, sometimes they're funnier. I know I think you watch wrestling too, right?
Not at all.
Oh, okay. Well, you're missing out. Anyhow, the wrestling that's going on right now in the WWE, the women are 10 times better than the guys.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And, and you look at some of the comics that are coming up, I pay more attention to the women now because I think I'm waiting for them to go on because, when they go up on stage, everything's already against them. Oh, she's going to talk about getting married. She's going to talk about this and talk about that. Or the other way is, oh, she's just going to be really dirty because she's a woman. She can be. But they go up there and then they're armed with jokes, and it's just so much better. And I think it's for us. I think it was time for that to happen. I'm glad all this stuff is happening with. I don't want to say the Me Too, but maybe like the other thing about the women that are coming up in the world as far as like, the female CEOs and things like that, which have always been going on, but that they're getting the spotlight put on them because it's making them more, I want to say acceptable, but for me, it was more like, oh, good, now we can have a girl on our show because, it's going to be more acceptable for our audience of meatheads that are out there that are like, oh, yeah, fuck these women, my wife, I hate my wife and all that shit, which, I'm one of those guys, but I like having her on the show because it helps me with putting out there stuff that can get the most ears because, sometimes we get polarizing when we get down those dirty, dark roads. And with her in the studio, I think it kind of helps us from going there. And if we do go there and she kind of gives us the stink eye or whatever, it kind of makes for good radio as well,
Now, how do ratings work? Are you the type of guy that gets nervous about ratings, or do you just try to go in and do the best show possible?
Both. Yeah, both. I mean, we're like here in Cincinnati, we're under attack because not a lot of stations, there are not a lot of towns have a lot of rock stations. We have, I think we have 3 others in town. And that's a pain. That's a lot of noise in the city. You know what I mean? And that's a pain. That's a pain in the ass because they're all like 2 of them aren't even in it for ratings. Really, they're in it just to sell ads cheaper. So they're hurt instead of making themselves better. They're there just to hurt us. And I don't know. I just can't. I don't know why you wouldn't want to be in business just to be like, I don't care. I'm just going to sell my commercials for 75% less, so they can't have those commercials. You know what I mean? That's kind of scumbag shit.
Now,
just get better programming.
What's it like if you see your rivals out and about? Are you cool with them, or are there some people, you don't have to say names, but are there some people that you just don't like?
No, I don't care. I don't know anybody. They come up to me. I don't. If you're nice to me, I'm nice to you. I don't get into all that stuff. But I don't even know. Let's see. I know there was this guy on the top 40 station. He's an afternoon show named John, and he has a hot. Well, it's a girlfriend now, and I thought she was way too hot for him. So I would say that on the air and make fun of him. But he's cool. Him and I are friends. Other than that, I don't think I know anybody else. I don't know anybody else at other radio stations. Oh, no, there was a midday woman, but she's voice tracked from Indianapolis named Laura Steele. I'm friends with her. But she's a midday girl. So I don't know. I don't get, there's really no, I mean, I don't go out and do anything wrong. I'm not going out at the club or something where I'm going to meet somebody. And plus, there's syndication here too. Like Bob and Tom is here. I'm not going to run into those guys. And the other rock morning shows, they're just, I mean, maybe if I go out to like a baseball event or something, they'll be there, but they don't come up and say hi to me. One time, there was a girl from one of the other morning shows that came up to me at Rock and Range and just asked me if I was going to. She heard that I was going to her radio station, but it wasn't true. That was it.
What was that like? So I bet that had to be a little bit weird when a girl says that and it's not true whatsoever.
I just tell her that's not true. Well, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, maybe she was thinking like, "Oh, I'm going to get, placed somewhere else. I'm not going to be on in the morning anymore or something." I don't know, but it wasn't true. No, I would have told her, I guess. I don't know. It wasn't true, so it was easy to say it's not true.
What has been the best part about working in that market the last 6 years?
Probably, this is probably why the PC stuff doesn't really affect me, is because the station was it's a legendary station, so it was kind of built on the crazy stuff. So maybe that's why I'm a little bit more protected. So the cool thing is, I've always gone to stations that are either new or in trouble. And when you go to a station that's new, right away everybody just rolls their eyes and go, "Wow, that's not going to last," And then the ones that are in trouble, it's like, "Wow, that they're fucked." So this is going to be it. And luckily, coming here, this was such a brand that wasn't going anywhere. That it wasn't even an issue as far as ever changing formats or anything. So that was a good thing coming here. And that was probably the best part. And also, having kids and stuff now. It's great being where I live and having a house. Like the house that I'm in now would cost me millions of dollars, say in Philadelphia. I'd be living in I live in a 2-bedroom apartment building, an apartment building in Philadelphia for what I pay for mortgage here. And having kids and stuff, that is so awesome. And then they could play outside. There's no problems. In Philadelphia, we didn't have it outside. And then it was the road. Here, there's a backyard, there's a front yard, there's neighbors. I live in a cul-de-sac, so it's like Leave It to Beaver life I live now. So I kind of like that. It's like I'm in my own bubble and I'm protected. Before I had kids and stuff, I was in the middle of the war where it was like, well, fuck, I'm gonna go into a town and stir up trouble and all that stuff. Now coming here, I think it was kind of like I don't want to say a retirement plan, but it's like I did my part. So now it's time to work and just kind of have fun and hopefully retire at this station. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? No, I used to like the idea of syndication and all that crap, and I've done it, and it wasn't that great. What was great was like this time around, my contract came around, and my goal this time was to have it done quicker than any other talent in the building or in the company. And they said, "Well, what do you want to do? Do you want to do a 3-year or 5-year?" I said, "I'll sign a 10 if you want." And then when it came to money, I didn't even talk money with them. I just signed it and then gave it back to them. That was it. Because I want to stay at this place. Now, will it happen? Who knows? I mean, management always changes and stuff. Some guy could come in and go, "This sucks. I want to put syndication on, get rid of it," and then then we're on to something else. But that's it. That's what I like. That's my life now. Now, if another show comes into town and wants to go to war, I'm always good. I'm always up for that. But I don't think it's going to happen. They've already tried other things here as far as like syndicated shows and stuff to come on, and it dies on its own without us even fighting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, also, when it comes to your market, why are your listeners so greedy? It seems like they call just to get free tickets.
It's not here. I expose it more here. It's everywhere. And San Antonio was the same thing. I'll tell you why. Because if you listen around the dial, every station, especially in the fall, is giving away $1,000 an hour, this and that. It's only because a bar was set, probably by the company that I work for, as far as these national contests. The bar has been set, so everybody jumps aboard and does the same thing. So it's a race of who can give away what, how many times a year, this and that. So it's just stuff, it comes down from the top, and we got to deal with it, and it's fine. But to me, it's funny when people call in. We could be in the middle. I could have Jesus Christ on my show, the second coming of Christ. He's in the studio. First of all, I'd have to still take a break at the same exact time, or else the segment will suck. And then second, I could be in the middle of it, and either someone's going to call up and ask for Rob Zombie songs or or tickets to go see Avenged Sevenfold. But no, they don't pay attention. And to me, it's kind of funny to expose that. It gets irritating sometimes because they fight back saying, no, I listen all the time, when it's not true. They're just scanning through to get free shit. But every station's guilty of it. I just put it on the air.
What was going on in your town where those people that didn't have homes that live on the block had their own town in your city? What was that about? All the homeless people that were thinking they had rights. What was that about?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't get that. You know what that is? That PC stuff you're talking about? That's where that comes into play. Some people they feed these people like they're like homeless cats, and they're like, well, people are helping us out, so we deserve to be here. You don't feed the cat. You don't give these people. So they're homeless people. Most of them are drug addicts that don't want to be helped. They just want to do drugs and live in a tent. So they're living on 3rd Street. So that's right in the heart of the city where tourism and all that stuff is. So they told them to get fucking lost, and they wouldn't leave. So because of social media and stuff, and the mayor is a Democrat. He's a good guy, but he was all worried about hurt feelings and stuff. So they kind of did it slowly. But the prosecutor dude, Joe Dieters, who's awesome, they had a meeting. In other words, the mayor didn't want to be the asshole to say, power wash them, get them the fuck out of there. So instead he had the prosecutor do it because he doesn't care. So he just went in there, guns a-blazing, and told them to take a fucking walk. And it was great. And I'm glad they're out of there. Because when you're walking to one of the games or whatever, it's all scumbags right there hitting you up for money and stuff. And they're all on heroin. They do it out in the open. It reminded me of Portland. That's probably where I got really upset about it.
It seems like all your anger goes back to that city of Portland.
Yeah, if it reminds me of Portland, I hate it. And I want it dead.
Dude, where do you see your show in the next 5 years? Do you think you'll be in the same town, or do you think you'll have to move again?
I hope I'm here. If I ever leave here, it won't be by my choice. It'll be by theirs. And plus, if I were to come off the radio, I don't know if I would leave. I would probably work a regular job or something here.
Really?
Because my kids go to school here and stuff. So, and I'm not ashamed to do it. I don't care. But that would probably be what I would do. Yeah.
What type of job would you do if you weren't doing the Kid Chris show?
I don't know. I'd figure something out. I've done it before. I've done podcasting before where I would charge for it, and I made some money that way. And then who knows? Maybe I'll do another job on the side with that. I don't know. Probably with. I don't know. I think I'm pretty handy with social media. Maybe work with a company doing that or something. Who knows? I don't know. I'd figure it out. I got this far with no brains.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, for people that haven't heard your show, why should they tune in, and where can they find it? I
don't know why they should tune in. I don't have the answer for that. What, you listen to it, right?
It makes me laugh. I don't know. It's just like, it's dumb humor, but you guys do it in a good way. Like, you guys have prank calls, but they're real. That's my favorite part, is it's a real show.
Okay. Well, then there you go. Yeah, I don't have the answer to it. I try to do stuff on our show that I would listen to, and that's not always a popular thing. But you can get it on iHeartRadio and iTunes. I put it on YouTube as well.
Yeah, you should do that too. I sent you a tweet a few weeks ago. You should put up some of your old shows. Now, I know you're probably nervous about it, but I want to hear what your show sounded like in the different markets that you were on in.
Like, I don't know how I could, because like the Philadelphia stuff, there's certain things I have to take out for legal purposes, and I don't have the time.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess I didn't think about that part.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Yeah, that's tough. I do it with video. You know, I put up on my YouTube page some old throwback stuff. It's just so hard because I don't have the, like you work down there. There's a staff for that morning. How many people are on that morning show?
There's 3 other people. So there's Mike, Spanish, Carmen, and Galvin.
Okay. And that's all? There's no producers or anything?
Spanish and Carmen split that.
Okay. See, that's not a bad, that's about right. Because on my show I have, there's Rachel and Dubs. Rachel, Dubs, and me, but they all have other jobs. So when we get off the air, they disappear. So it's just Thomas and I. I guess Thomas does the role of producer, but he produces whatever I send his way. And I'll do booking stuff or whatever on my end. But some of these other shows have like 7 or 8 people on it. We did in Philly. It was a lot of people, and it was great because everybody had their own take, so there was a lot of flavor on it. But I think the smaller the show, you only have one flavor, and that's why it was kind of crucial to have Rachel come in on the show because it kind of reinvented it, which is fun. But it's tough with having a smaller staff, I guess. But we play a lot of music too. So you listen to the podcast. We do a lot of tunes. You hear it without the replays and without the music.
Does it make you annoyed with the amount of music you play, or is it cool?
No, it's cool because if I didn't play any music, I'd be working extremely hard and I would be getting the same paycheck.
I guess I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah. Why would I mean, like the music, people like hearing the music on the show. Ever since they had a morning show here, they've played a lot of music. So, I've never, when we were in Philadelphia, we didn't play music and it was hard. It was exhausting. It was really, really exhausting. And when things aren't going right, you can't just turn a song on. You would have to swim there in just complete death. But here, if I'm not in the mood or whatever, I just play, or maybe I'll play an extra song or play 2 in a row and I'll just talk in between about what's coming up. It's wonderful. And my pay doesn't change. If they'd have said to me like, hey, tomorrow there's no music, I would fight it. When we first got here, we were only on till 9 o'clock. And then the 9 a.m. hour was commercial free with the midday girl. And I remember getting the call to go to 10 o'clock, and I fought that tooth and nail. I fought it for months. I didn't want to. Who wants to work more? Right?
Yeah. If you're not going to make more, then why would you want to work that much?
Right. Exactly. So forget it. And it was pitched to me like, all the big shows go to 10 o'clock. I'm not a big. I'm in Cincinnati. I want to be on till 9. I want to go home. But I lost. So now we're on till 10. But and like I said before, I tried the syndication thing. I had a great thing going. We were on that station 98 Rock down there in Tampa for a second.
What happened?
We were on at night. It was draining me. Like I said, we don't have the full staff. So if I wasn't working on my morning show, the next day we would have nothing. So when I got off the air every day, I was chopping up the daily show to put on at night to make it, where it wasn't talking about Cincinnati at night. You know how that works. So it was a fun thing. It was a cool little project, and it was working, but it was killing the morning show. And we took some hits, so I pulled the plug on it. And I wish I wish they could have said, well, let's get another guy to help you out or something like that, but they didn't do it, so I pulled the plug on it. And I wish we could have made that keep going, but it was a fun ride. That was a fun station too. They were really nice. They were too nice to me there at 98 Rock, but man, I wish we could have kept going with that stuff. Plus, AJ's hot. Have you ever seen her?
I think I might have at a few gigs. I'm not sure.
And no, everybody there was cool. So I wish we could have kept it going, but we didn't. Oh, well.
Well, dude, keep up the good work. It was a lot of fun having you on the show, and you make the time go by fast when I'm working my second job.
That's cool. What do you do you have a second job?
Yeah, so Jeff Brandis is running for Senate here in the Tampa area, so I go door to door dropping off flyers for him. So when I'm dropping off the flyers, if they don't answer the door, because there's like an app you use, I'll just have I'll have your show playing, and then when I go to the door, I just pause it. Then when I go to the next door, I turn it on. So your show makes it go by fast because I'm in 95-degree weather. I'm sweating, and it just some of your prank calls, like the one you guys did where Thomas called that show that was kind of like Love Line and said "suck it, bitch." That was the funniest thing I've ever heard. I was crying laughing.
He didn't say "suck it, bitch." He said it ain't gonna suck itself.
See, I'm bad at quoting things. I'm going to get you in trouble. Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, and you know the way Ryan put it, it makes it sound like, oh, it's one of those shows, but it's more. It's the same thing, but delivered more clever.
I need to work on that. I like that. If I'm going to take one thing from this interview, is you need to be more clever and not so upfront and vulgar.
Yeah. Don't throw it. Don't thrust it in their face. Put it in a nice package with a bow on it.
I like that, dude.
Yeah. Well, dude, listen, man. I was psyched when you hit me up, but we had fun last time talking about girls. And how's that going, by the way? You good?
I'm good, man. Just board hopping to shows on the weekend, doing this show. I mean, things are good. I'm just now I'm 25. I was 23 when I talked to you. I'm in better shape. I mean, I'm just better at this, and it's a grind, man. Radio's a grind, so there's not that much that's different. I mean, I'm board hopping the shows on the weekend, so that's cool. I mean, I guess the one thing that's different was, and you're going to hate this, Chris, you're going to hang up on me and never speak to me again, but I was going to get married and the girl dumped me in June. So I guess that's the one difference since we spoke was I got engaged.
Well, she did you a favor.
Yeah, dude, I got lucky, man. Holy shit, was I in love for no reason. Oh, yeah, dude, I dodged the bullet.
I'm glad that you guys, that station's all talk, right?
Yes.
I'm glad that they stuck with it and they were doing that stuff because I always thought those FM talk stations were kind of cool. It was like the hipper version of AM, talk or whatever. And I'm glad that they're still doing that and they're stuck with it. I don't know that city. I don't think I've ever been to Tampa, so it must be obviously very open to it. But it's cool that it's working and. I hope. What's the company that's doing that?
Cox Media Group.
Okay, well, maybe they'll do some more of that stuff.
Dude, you should come visit with your kids and your wife. It's not that pricey for, let's say, a week for like spring break or whatever. Go to Clearwater or go to St. Pete Beach. It's pretty cheap, and you got some of the best beaches.
Well, we used to go to Boca.
Yeah,
that was our thing. We used to go to the Boca Resort down there, but yeah, then we had kids and that ruined it. But I've been to, let's see. I've been to Miami once. I went there for WrestleMania, but Boca is where I've been a couple times. Never been to Tampa. I was hoping to go there, being on 98 Rock, but we never got the chance. But yeah, I want to get to Orlando. There's some things in Orlando I want to see. But other than that, yeah, I've never been there. To Tampa. I heard it's cool. Oh well, listen, it was good talking to you, and whenever you want me on again, I guess, just hit me up. It's fun.
Yeah, dude, I'm not just saying this because I have you on the phone. I literally listen to you every day. I begin with you. You just crack me up because you guys, I don't know. It's like, it's hard to break down. I just laugh. Like, I'll listen to Joe Rogan and I like listening, but Joe Rogan doesn't make me laugh. But you guys literally make me laugh because your prank calls are real. And that's what I like is that it all feels real. It's not like Second Date or whatever, any of that crap. It's just guys talking. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the world has changed as far as prank calls and stuff too, so we've had to change along with it. So it's why, like, you know, it's nothing new in radio, like to call other shows and goof on them and stuff, but it's always been to call other shows and say penis or something like that, and then people go, oh my God, and then they hang up or say the DJ's name, which is fun, but we like to call up ourselves and just kind of throw a wrench into it and have them be confused, or that's more interesting to me to hear these hosts get thrown off, and that's more fun. Because if you just curse or something, they just hang up on you. The one that Thomas did was funny because it was a teen show, and he was he was a girl. He was calling as a teenage girl. So to me, that was hilarious. Yeah, no, I appreciate you saying that, man. I mean, we're just doing our thing, and you know, I wish I had more time to listen to other shows and stuff because you know, I have nothing. Just keep that in mind. Like you're able to go walk around and listen to other stuff because you have the time. I don't get to listen to anything, and I want to. You know what I mean?
I don't listen to it as much because it's like it makes me think too much about my show. I listen to music more. I listen to like the same songs on like Spotify, or I will watch TV or watch sports. Like I listen to a decent amount of radio, but I used to be more into it. But now working at it, I feel like at times I need a break from it. Yeah.
See, that I used to think that way too, but you know, if I'm in the car with my kids, they'll listen to Top 40 radio, and I love it because it's not. I'm not in my world, so it's fun to hear the other stuff, and I can detach from what I do for work and just kind of listen as a regular person. And it's more fun. I used to be anti that. I would never listen to anything else and all that, but you know, I've changed. I'm old now. I'm 44, so I've changed.
Yeah, you are an old man now.
I know. So listen to me. I've made all the mistakes, so don't do anything without consulting me.
Sounds good. You'll be my new mentor and agent.
Yes. Make sure it happens. All right, dude. Well, thanks for having me on again.
Awesome,
Hopefully
dude.
it gets you listens or whatever. All right, dude. All right, man.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris.
All right. See you, man.
See you, dude.